Hey. So here we go. The Elgin Walker Living the East Hustle podcast is here right now. So what are we talking about? We've been talking about recently the real estate market possibly changing, possibly correcting, possibly shifting. Well, guess what? If you haven't noticed, that shift, that change is actually here. But first, let's talk about what I mean by change and shift. See, I think a lot of people feel that when you say, oh, the market is changing or the market is shifting, they interpret that as the market is crashing. The market is definitely not crashing. Definitely not at all. But it is changing. Some of it is seasonal. In the area that I'm in, some of it is the heat. But there's some realistic things that are changing this market because after 30 years, we know that this market goes up and down. This market does not stay the same. It corrects itself and eventually it goes up again, and that's just what the market does. So here's where we're at. What we're looking at right now is we see some homes that have been on the market for a little longer than what they were previously, because before, pretty much could list the house, put it on the market at any price. Well, not any price, but you could put it on maybe even a little bit higher than what the most recent sale was, and you'd get a buyer for it. In a lot of cases, you get a multiple buyer for it, and then all you really have to do is worry about the appraisal. If you're able to get the appraisal in, bam, you got a sale, but you had activity. Most of the homes that were priced quote unquote well in decent locations and all of that, show well, take good pictures for the internet, those homes were getting activity and selling right away. And right away meaning, honestly, normally in days, if everything lined up right. And that's pretty much what was happening. As a buyer, you start having buyers who are writing blind offers. I've had to because they weren't able to get out to see the house fast enough, because some homes were being sold off of the market. They're being sold in networks. They're being sold outside of the MLS and the internet because of the pent up demand for it. So that being said, that kept us in positions where the market seemed to be overheated by some. Overheated by some. So here we are now. What's happening? Well, what's happening is this, is that everything doesn't sell in 5 minutes. So even if it is extremely well priced compared to what well priced was, say, 3 or 4 months ago, it may not sell right away. And if it doesn't sell right away, then it tends to look stale if it's been on the market for a little while compared to some other property. Now, this is not every property. See, this is what happens when the market shifts or corrects a little bit, is that this trend isn't with every property. It is not in every area exactly, but you will see this trend. How do you know that you see this trend? Well, you'll look and you'll begin to see more price reductions. And then a couple of times we saw more price reductions than we saw pending properties, within a short period of time. Pending properties meaning properties that have gone into escrow or active under contract. That's what we mean by that. You weren't seeing that before. The other thing that you'll notice is that the days on market are a little bit longer. What do I mean by days on market? From the time the property hit the MLS system where it was officially on the market, from the time that it either went under contract and or the time that it closed escrow. That time frame is longer right now than it has been. In the price reductions, unless it is a major price adjustment, sometimes with the adjustment, it's not like you see an offer the next day. This has happened to us on a couple of properties recently, that we had price adjustments on them on what we thought were already very well priced properties, and it took a little while again still to get an offer. One of them we wound up now getting multiple offers on, and it took weeks to do that, and you didn't see that as often in the other market. So this is just on the sellers and the inventory side. So here's the thing, though, if you're buying, that you ought to know and you ought to realize, is that there are a lot of people now that are saying, well, I should say a lot of people, I am running into people and hearing of other people that are saying, well, instead of buying right now, we're going to wait. We're going to stay on the fence and we're going to see where prices go. Okay, well, here's the danger in that. See, other than the time that you buy a home or the time that you sell your home, The actual price doesn't matter as much. Why does it not matter as much? Because unless you're paying cash, you've got a monthly payment to make. So your monthly payment is going to be the most important thing that you have when you're buying the house. See, the rest of it's monopoly money. You can't go to the bank, or you can't go to the grocery store and say, my house has $100,000 in equity, give me that piece of bread. Or your house could be underwater $100,000, and they're not going to care that your house is upside down in equity and give you a loaf of bread. See what I'm saying? It doesn't matter until you're actually looking to buy or sell it. What matters is your monthly payment. Why should that matter to you with what's going on in this market right now? It should matter to you because of the interest rates of where they've risen to and the projections of where they're going to go. See, right now, regardless of what you think about it, whether you agree with it, or whether you're on the right side of it or not, the economy is perceived, or we're being told that the economy is much better. And since the economy is much better, to keep from inflation, blah, 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 et cetera, and in my opinion, that the banks make more money, the interest rates are being risen, and they're rising. So as they rise, the amount of your monthly payment is going to be completely different as far as a correlation to where you're the interest rate is now alone somewhere, but you can that's possible. More has been, and it's the prison market longer, even though not too long. You're not going to maybe also have the ability to negotiate possibly with certain sellers. There are certain sellers that may be a little bit more willing to negotiate some things that they did not have to negotiate just 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago. What do I mean by that? Maybe your closing costs. Maybe there's some repairs. Maybe it's the possession of when to get the property. Maybe it's the earnest money deposit. I don't know. There are different things in different circumstances that are going to mean something to you. Obviously, price. Obviously, if you can negotiate price and or some closing costs, I mean, hey, you're winning if you're able to get in there. You like the home. You plan to be in the home for a little while, and you're making a monthly payment. So that being said, that's our little podcast for today. A little quickie, a little teaser, just to get you out there and just to have you remember that, hey, no matter what you're going through in life, it's just a temporary condition because things change. And as I always say, it truly is a great life. So God bless you guys. Take care of yourselves. We appreciate you listening to us here on our show, and we look forward to helping you with your real estate